Shedeur Sanders went down with what the Browns are calling an oblique injury during yesterday's practice, Matt. That supposedly means he's unlikely to suit up in Cleveland's second preseason showdown against the Eagles on Saturday. Kevin Stefanski told reporters Sanders would be sidelined for some time, claiming they're taking it day to day. But let's be honest, this is less of a medical update and more of a comedy skit. The NFL might be on the verge of chaos because the Browns just pulled off the most laughable illusion since your uncle faked a milk run. Reports are already swirling that Shedeur's oblique injury is about as authentic as a Kardashian reality show. Fans are calling it a sham. Analysts are tearing it apart. And Cleveland might have just pioneered the league's first imaginary injury report. Here's what allegedly happened. Shedeur felt something in his side during warm-ups, then was immediately shut down for the rest of practice. If you believe that, I've got beachfront property in Ohio to sell you. This excuse is about as credible as Tom Brady's final retirement. We've all heard weak cover-ups before. The dog ate my homework, I was hacked, I accidentally liked that post. But this one takes the cake, the plate, and the whole bakery. The official statement from the Browns: Shedeur Sanders has an oblique strain. The reality? He terrifies Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland front office. Instead of admitting he's the future, they scribbled up a chapter from a medical fiction novel. Deja vu. This is the same phantom injury he had before that mysteriously vanished. Why bring it back now? Because he was about to take the field on Saturday and build on his electric preseason debut against Carolina. Browns fans were starting to feel something they hadn't felt since LeBron left the first time. Hope. But hope is dangerous in Cleveland. Hope makes fans ask tough questions like, why isn't this kid starting? Why are we wasting him? And if Stefanski hates anything more than calling aggressive plays, it's answering tough questions. So what's the easiest way to derail the Shedeur Sanders hype train before Deshaun Watson gets exposed as a $230 million lawn ornament? Simple. You invent an injury, write oblique strain on the report, call the trainers, and boom, the rookie is sidelined. Except there's a catch. Nobody's buying it. Not the fans, not the experts, and definitely not the internet detectives who could uncover Area 51 secrets before swallowing this excuse. Let's be real. When did oblique strains become the NFL's version of "my grandma's sick, I can't make it to work"? Invisible, vague, impossible to prove, and conveniently timed whenever a coach needs a scapegoat. And this isn't about health, it's about control. Shedeur isn't just another quarterback. He's a threat to the entire Browns hierarchy. Stefanski has built his brand on conservative, paint-by-numbers football. Run, check down, punt, repeat. But Shedeur? He's fireworks. He slings lasers, makes plays out of nothing, and turns broken drives into highlight reels. And that terrifies Stefanski because once a rookie makes him look brilliant, the credit shifts. The chants start. The fans stop praising the coach and start calling for Sanders. So what does Stefanski do? He hides the weapon. He locks Shedeur away under the guise of injury, slapping a big red sticker on him like a toy he doesn't want anyone touching. You'd think Cleveland was guarding nuclear launch codes, not a quarterback. And the funniest part? We literally saw Shedeur warming up this morning at NovaCare, fully intending to practice with the rest of the QB group. The only thing he's straining right now is the Browns' paper-thin credibility. After practice, Shedeur Sanders walked over to Kevin Stefanski, who later claimed the rookie complained of tightness in his oblique. But let's break this circus down. The Browns insist it's an injury. Yet here's the twist. Shedeur didn't limp, didn't wince, didn't even flinch. One day he's launching lasers across the field. The next, he's suddenly listed like Thanos body slammed him. Convenient, isn't it? Experts have already noted this isn't even a new issue. It was supposedly lingering before. Never stopped him then. But now, right when the pressure's on Stefanski, it somehow morphs into a career-threatening ordeal. That's not medical science. That's Brown science. The art of transforming hope into heartbreak. And the fans? They're not fooled. Cleveland is battle-hardened. This is the same fan base that's endured decades of broken promises, comic relief quarterbacks, and misery layered thicker than Lake Erie fog. They know when they're being hustled, and nothing unites Browns fans faster than the scent of a conspiracy. One moment, they're bickering on Twitter about who should start at linebacker. The next, they're lock-armed, demanding truth about Shedeur's injury. Stefanski thought he could sweep this one under the rug, but he forgot. Cleveland fans live under that rug. They've been there since 1964, when now we're told Sanders' oblique strain will keep him out for a significant stretch. 1 week? 2? 3? Nobody knows. And that's the problem. By faking this, Stefanski may have unintentionally elevated Shedeur into legend status. He's no longer just a quarterback. He's a victim of sabotage. He's the chosen one shackled by the jealous gatekeepers of mediocrity. And fans love an underdog. But you know what they worship? A hero who's been wronged. Picture this. Weeks later, Shedeur walks back onto the field. Healthy, calm, and delivers a flawless strike down the sideline. The stadium doesn't just cheer, it detonates. Because in that moment, he didn't just beat a defense, he beat the system. He overcame not only tacklers, but his own coach's politics. That's Hollywood. And what does this fiasco reveal about the Browns' priorities? Instead of developing their most electrifying quarterback in years, they're staging medical theater to shield a coach's fragile ego and a quarterback room shakier than a Jenga tower in an earthquake. They're wasting talent, wasting time, and testing the patience of an already scarred fan base. Stefanski acts like letting Shedeur play would derail his master plan. Newsflash, what master plan? The Browns' offense looks like somebody mashed random buttons on Madden and prayed for divine intervention. The plan is simple. Survive the week, blame the refs, invent an injury, rinse and repeat. And don't even get me started on how absurd this all sounds. Quarterbacks have gutted it out with broken ribs, torn shoulders, sprained knees. You name it. But now, we're supposed to believe Shedeur can't throw a football because his oblique feels tender? Please. Brett Favre once played so banged up, he resembled a Mr. Potato Head glued together with duct tape. Yet, here we are, pretending Shedeur needs bed rest because of an injury nobody even saw happen. Here's the truth. Shedeur showed up, lit it up, and exposed Deshaun Watson as a $230 million spectator. Stefanski panicked. He saw the writing on the wall. He saw his carefully protected system unravel in the presence of actual talent. So he pulled the oldest trick in the book. Hide the star, spin a story, hope nobody notices. But instead of killing the Sanders hype, he poured gasoline on it. Now every analyst is dissecting it, every fan is demanding answers, and every word Stefanski says just makes the hole deeper. It's like watching a man try to put out a fire with a gas can. Tragic, but can't miss television. The bottom line? The Browns can't handle what Shedeur represents. He's fearless. He's dynamic. He's everything they're not. He embodies possibility, excitement, and a future that doesn't involve the eternal cop-out of rebuilding years. And for a franchise addicted to rebuilding, that's terrifying. So, ironically, while the Browns tried to bury him, they might have built his legend instead. Because when Shedeur finally gets his chance, every eye in the NFL will be watching. And if he delivers, the myth only grows. Proof that you can't suppress destiny with a fake injury report. The Browns flat out fabricated an injury to stash away the only player capable of salvaging their season. Kevin Stefanski panicked the moment Shedeur Sanders made him look small, and now the NFL is chuckling, fans are seething, and Shedeur's legend just ballooned tenfold. If you're searching for the most ridiculous storyline in football this year, congratulations, you found it. Because only in Cleveland can genuine hope morph into an oblique injury overnight. The Browns truly thought they could slide this one past everyone. They figured nobody would notice if they quietly scribbled oblique next to Shedeur's name and shelved him like a Marvel character locked in the Disney vault. But this is Cleveland. These fans see everything. They'll memorize the design of a receiver's gloves. They'll analyze grainy practice film frame by frame. They'll argue about the backup kicker as if it were a Supreme Court case. You think they weren't going to question why their brand new star suddenly came down with the NFL's equivalent of, "I'm too tired today"? Please. Browns fans are basically unpaid FBI agents with season tickets. And let's not pretend this franchise doesn't have a track record. This is the same team that once convinced itself Brandon Weeden was the solution. That's not just bad judgment. Harosh, that's football malpractice. They've drafted more quarterbacks than Starbucks has latte flavors. And every time the only thing brewing is disappointment. Yet, for the first time in forever, Cleveland had momentum when Shedeur took the field, firing rockets like he was auditioning for a Madden cover art. Fans were whispering the unthinkable. Maybe the Browns aren't cursed. And then Stefanski slammed the brakes harder than a grandma spotting a squirrel. Honestly, you almost have to admire the dedication to dysfunction. It's like the Browns see the road to success, then deliberately steer off into failure forest. And Stefanski? Let's dissect his poker face. Every time the subject of Shedeur comes up, he hides behind his coach speak. We're just being cautious. We want him healthy long term. Translation: I'm terrified of losing my job, and this rookie is too good for my own good. He talks like a man trying to explain Vegas credit card charges as business expenses. Nobody buys it, but he'll cling to the lie anyway. Meanwhile, Shedeur, perfectly fine, perfectly healthy, is stuck on the sideline like the most expensive paperweight in Ohio, forced to watch Deshaun Watson sail throws into the bleachers. Imagine being that talented, that electric, and being chained to the bench because your coach fears the consequences of your brilliance. That's not football. That's hostage management. And the experts aren't holding back either. Analysts are openly mocking the injury report, calling it the weakest excuse since the butt fumble. Stefanski basically gift-wrapped them fake MRIs and imaginary bruises for ridicule. But here's the kicker. This story has jumped the Cleveland city limits. It's national now. Every podcast, every talk show, every meme page is chewing on the same question. Is Shedeur really injured, or is this the NFL's biggest cover-up since Deflategate? And once something becomes a national punchline, it sticks forever. Even if Shedeur eventually carves out a Hall of Fame career, people will still whisper, remember when the Browns faked his injury because they were scared to play him? That's not just incompetence. That's legacy-shattering stupidity. Picture what happens next. Shedeur finally returns, drops dimes like Amazon Prime, carves defenses like a Thanksgiving turkey. Every touchdown becomes a middle finger to the Browns coaching staff. The crowd will roar louder than they ever did for Baker or Johnny Football. And poor Stefanski will be left standing there, headset on, completely stripped of credibility. Fans won't believe a word he says. He could announce Nick Chubb is healthy, and they'd demand to see MRIs, X-rays, and a notarized statement from Chubb's kneecaps. The Browns have officially become the boy who cried oblique. And Deshaun Watson? Of course he's thrilled Shedeur is sidelined. It's the first time in his Cleveland tenure he hasn't had to fear losing his spotlight. But here's the problem. Even with Sanders benched, fans are still chanting his name. They know the truth. Watson knows the truth. And deep down, Stefanski knows it too. The future of the franchise is sitting right there, waiting. So while Dillon and Gabriel may get a look, the real storyline is Shedeur Sanders. His momentum was growing, his reps were increasing, and for the first time, it felt like Cleveland had an answer. Instead, the Browns chose to bury him under the weakest excuse imaginable. But in doing so, they may have only made his rise inevitable, and a whole lot louder.